What up, good people, and welcome to another episode of This Is Dope. It's your man Ahmad here to tell you guys about some of the dope things that I have come across this week. From music to tech to places I've gone. I just kind of want to share these things with you guys, so hopefully you can, check them out for yourselves. Today, I guess, before I dive into it, let's go ahead and address questions some of you probably have. You look a little different. Those of you who have watched my channel know I'm normally in a t-shirt, possibly a baseball cap. Today, I am dressed like I normally would when I actually leave the house. I left the house today. I had to go do something for my kids, a function at my kids' school. So, I threw on a fedora, threw on a button down. This is how I normally look. I have a ton of fedoras. I think I have like 32 of them. I'm a big hat guy. Shout out to Gorn Brothers, where I get really all of my hats. Great hat store, great selection. I have a lot of straw and wool hats. Also, shout out to Fruition Hat Company. That's Fruition Hat Company. One of my friends, Visual Renaissance, he kind of put me on to them. They're really doing some really great things. I'm definitely going to start patronizing their store. They're really building it out now, so it's not quite done yet. They have a couple of pop-up shops here in Atlanta, but they're starting to really increase their presence here, and a lot of things I'm seeing from them are pretty exciting on the fedora hat front. But enough about that. This is not an episode about hats. What I want to speak to you guys about today is really, how I use my Apple TV. I have 4 Apple TVs. I have spoken to you guys about my iPad OS, iOS, and iOS 13. But I've left out, haven't really touched on any of my Apple TV use. And it's a really heavy tech part of my life. I have 4 Apple TVs, one for each television here in my home, one upstairs in the master bedroom, one in the living room, one in my office, and one in the kids' playroom. I'm a cord cutter, so I don't really have a traditional, Comcast or Cox or wherever you're at. I don't have a traditional cable setup. I use ATT Now, I believe is the name of the app. It was just recently DirecTV Go, and AT&T rebranded it. But even that, I'm thinking about really doing away with. Just based on how I use my TV, my entertainment needs, right? Use a lot of Hulu, a lot of Netflix, a lot of YouTube, and a lot of other apps. So I'm really wanting to show you guys how I use my Apple TV, those apps, and some others on there. Because, to be honest with you, this is a really big part of my family's entertainment or home entertainment life, right? As far as even the movies through iTunes and our use of Plex and things of that nature. Before I get into that, though, let me go ahead and touch briefly on some of the dope music that came out this week. There were a couple of projects that came out. Like Common released a project called Let Love, which is dope. It's Common. It definitely doesn't disappoint. Joell Ortiz released a project called Monday, which I like. I really like. H.E.R. released a project. It's sort of kind of a new project. Not really. It's, if you've seen her past 2 kind of EPs, it kind of combines those, and I think throws a couple of new extra songs in there called I Used to Know Her. I haven't actually listened to it. Looked at the track list. Most of the songs on there I've heard before. Dope. Just a couple of new ones, which I'm sure are dope, but I definitely wanted to call attention to that. This artist named Zoe. If those of you familiar with Foreign Exchange and that whole collective of Nicolay Fonte and their whole record label, you're probably familiar with Zoe. He has a project called Forethought, which is dope. It's really dope. So those are the things that I am really excited or musically that made me excited this week. Still in heavy rotations, the Little Brother CD, the Eve's latest, not Eve, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to call it Eve. Rhapsody's latest CD called Eve. Snow Allegra's project. Those are the three that are really, really in heavy rotation. I'm sorry. And St. John's project, I also listen to a lot. But that's it for my little music tidbit. So let's go ahead and dive in to how I use my Apple TV, or how me and my family use the Apple TVs throughout our home. The one I'm going to show you is running the latest beta version of TVOS. So you're going to see some of the new features that are coming out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So here we have my Apple TV 4K here on the television in my living room. So as you can see, I am on the Apple TV, the actual Watch Now app. There's actually two different screens you can kind of go to. That starts off with, it really depends on where you left off, when you turned off or put your Apple TV to sleep. This is the remote. I will actually show you guys the remote a little bit better later on. But it actually controls really everything you need to control. It will also turn on most televisions, right? So you won't need to have two remotes. You just have your Apple TV remote, and it'll turn on and off your television set, as well as control the volume. So you only really need the Apple TV remote. I am running the beta version of tvOS. This is what's coming out, which Apple probably is going to release officially at their event on September 10th. But this is, the original screen, right? So you have highlighted here the Apple TV app, which shows all the Watch Now recommendations. This is the new ATT TV Now, as it says right there. DirecTV Now has become ATT TV. Yeah, free advertising for AT&T. This is the Apple Arcade app. They haven't released it yet, obviously. We anticipate them releasing it. Well, I anticipate them releasing it at their event on the 10th. But, you can also sync a controller up to your Apple TV. And, if you are into the games that are on Apple Arcade, you can definitely play this like an Xbox or a PS4 or something along those lines. Then there's YouTube. And then there's Netflix. Now, these don't come as default. These apps listed in this little dock here do not come as default. I just moved some of my favorite apps up there. So what you can do, how you do that, is really like movies is probably something that I would move up there, right? So you hold down on the main button here, and I'll show you later. Actually, let me stop it, and I can show you now. If you look here, where I am here, hopefully it's not too close, but you hold down on this main part and it causes the icon to jiggle. Then what you want to do is with your thumb, just move it up, move it into place. Now what you have to be aware of is it slides over, so it doesn't replace the other thing. So what I should have done is move this guy, since I want to get rid of the Apple Arcade one, move him to the end, and then I can go ahead and add Netflix back to the dock. And what this does is this syncs across all of your Apple TVs. However you have your icons arranged, syncs across all of your Apple TVs. So this is where you access all of your apps, from the Netflix to the regular movies app, ATT TV, YouTube. Also you have photos. You're able to display your photos from iPhoto, your regular Photos app on here. This syncs between obviously your iCloud photos. So if you have iCloud photos or you take photos with your iPhone and they're syncing to iCloud, you can display them here on your television, and it'll open the app. It'll do things like regular photos that I've taken, memories, goes by date. Things I've downloaded. It's just like the regular Photos app. Things I've shared, albums, things of that nature. So it's just like the regular Photos app, but when you have guests over, you can go ahead and really share those memories, or even with your family. My kids like looking at old pictures, so this is pretty much how we do it a lot of the times. You also have access to Apple Music, which obviously syncs between Apple Music and on your other devices. Whatever playlists you create, whatever music you download, whatever things you add to your library are going to be there. So, like I discussed earlier, Here's some of it's Common's new CD that I mentioned earlier. There's Joell Ortiz, H.E.R, and Zoe. See, these are some of the things that my recently added playlist. They have it just like they do in Apple Music. The different playlists in your library, so forth and so on. All right, so let's see. Let's go back to the screen. I'll get into that in a moment. But that's really it. You're able to, another thing I want to point out is you're able to, all these apps that don't come stock with the Apple TV, you're able to acquire from the App Store. I just upgraded. There we go. So the same way you would buy anything in the Mac App Store or in the iOS App Store, there's free things and there's things you also pay for. You can sync your iTunes account to here. You can also subscribe to things straight from your television. So as you see here, like I have Tidal, of Hulu. There's a podcast app for video podcasts or regular audio podcasts. You can search. There's a search app. There's a search app here. However, it's kind of redundant because you can really search for a lot of things within the movie and TVs and the app. So that's kind of a redundant app. If you want to watch things like HBO, generally what it does is you launch it and it relies on the subscription that you have to your cable provider or something like AT&T TV, right? If you don't have Comcast or something like that, then AT&T TV works. I know, what's the other one? And I just draw a blank on what it is. There's a couple of other cord cutter options that work as well. Starts with an S. I don't know why I can't think of the AT&T TV alternative, but it works as well. Let's see. That's going to bug me. And also here's the Plex app. Plex works great. You can connect to different servers, whether you have a Plex server here at home or you connect to another remotely. I connect to one of my friend's Plex servers as well as mine here. So I'm able to stream content off of his network as well as mine. And once again, you have a lot of different options for apps and things to watch. A lot of them rely on your cable subscription. A lot of them don't. Like this is its own thing. Of course, Facebook is as well. You're able to subscribe to ESPN independently, as well as DC Universe. Pluto TV's free. It's just really about exploring, your options. Stars is free. So is Showtime. Showtime has Stars is not free, but Stars you're able to subscribe without having a cable provider. You could actually pay a fee and get all their content. The same goes for Showtime. And I think HBO has one as well. It's not Go, it's HBO Now. Show you guys a little bit more about the TV app, which is what I'm in most of the time. This is going to give you suggestions based on shows that you like or watch a lot. So to let you know, hey, there's a new episode of Teen Titans Go available, or a new episode of Ballers is available, or, a new episode of American Ninja Warrior, or whatever it is that you're watching. It'll put up here and up next. You have the ability to, tag something or add it to this up next queue, within the actual show itself. So let's just say Yellowstone. If I wanted to watch Yellowstone, right? I click on Yellowstone and then I'll have the option to add it to up next. Now it's in up next. And eventually that will populate into up next. There it is, right? And so, that now it'll notify me whenever there's a new episode. Now, be aware that you need to have a service that plays this, right? Whether it be the actual channel itself, HBO, Paramount, NBC. You need to have access to that. Or, Hulu does a lot of stuff like this. American Ninja Warriors through Hulu. So Hulu plays with this app very, very well. The Apple TV app, which is what we're in now with Watch Now and all of this. It also is going to go ahead and give you recommendations. That's what the Watch is, based on popular shows, popular movies. Apple's really pushing their own content that's getting ready to be released soon. It really it's actually pretty good. Some of the things they recommend, some of them, but it really tries to recommend things that are popular and also are relevant to what you watch. Some of this stuff I definitely would not watch, but some of it I would potentially check out. Also, they're going to give kind of different groupings depending on what's going on. Like, Apple TV Plus is getting ready to launch, so they're obviously, trying to really hype up for that. Free series premieres. There's a lot of other sections you just kind of go through. It is a place where you can centralize and find out what you want to watch for not only television shows but movies. That movies and TV will be in the Watch Now part of the app. You also have access to your iTunes library through this app under movies. You can go ahead and purchase. Like, I don't have Aladdin, I can purchase it here. Or, I have access to things I've already purchased, right? Like John Wick 3, I've already purchased it. So click on it, I would just click play. What they need to add here is a purchase section underneath movies. I haven't seen that. So if it's not something that automatically pops up here, and I don't know that I haven't purchased it. So say I wanted to watch Lord of the Rings, I can't get to it from here, which is, which would be, better instead of having to leave out of this app and go to the movies app. But, that's a request for future. The same thing goes with TV shows. It operates the same way as movies. The new hot TV shows. If you have that episode or purchase that series, then you'll have access to it. If not, you'll have to purchase it. The cool thing I like, being a sports fan, is that it will also aggregate all the sports that's going on right now based on who you say, your favorite sports and teams are, and so forth and so on. A lot of this is ESPN, Golf Channel, so forth, so on. Once again, you need to have access to the service that is highlighted here, right? So if I don't have access to ESPN Plus, I'm not going to be able to watch it. If I don't have access to the Golf Channel here, I'm not going to be able to watch it. That's just something you need to be aware of. Also groups into the kids. And you know what? I just noticed something. This is something that has changed, or I just now noticed. I stand corrected. Library is going to give you access to your content. It looks like. Let's see here. Hold on. I would say while we're waiting on this to load, I would say one of the drawbacks I would say about the Apple TV is that you aren't able to download your content directly to it. Right now, if you want to download your content, you'd still do it through iTunes via your Mac or Windows machine or wherever, and you store it wherever you store it at. You're not able to download it directly to this particular device. You can stream off of your computer to this device. So if you downloaded those movies from iTunes and you wanted a digital copy, not in the cloud, but actually at your home on a drive or something, you can connect your computers to iTunes and do it that way. I don't do it that way, but you can. I'll show you that in a moment. But this is, I guess, on the recent purchases, these are the TV shows that are out. These are the recent things that I purchased. Separates them into TV shows, movies, 4K H.E.R. So I stand corrected. You can actually access this from here. I just loaded this beta on this television today. And this is actually a new beta. Just the latest beta just came out a couple of days ago. So this is awesome that they've enabled this. All right, so we get out of here. But back to what I was saying as far as connecting to your computer. You're able to do that and I have all my stuff. I'll talk about folders in just a second. But organized in folders. So I have an Apple folder, and this is computers. I don't have iTunes sharing enabled, I don't believe, on any of my Macs. Right. Yeah, you would have to enable home sharing on your Mac. If you do that and you're on the same network as your Apple TV, it will pop in. It'll pop in here as something you can access. I don't do that. It's not something I'm, really concerned about as far as, streaming from stuff within my home. I've downloaded a lot of movies to some drives in my home, but I purchased way too many things on iTunes to fit on the storage I have available to me now at home. I would probably need to do some serious investing in some really, really serious storage to download everything I've purchased from iTunes. So that's why I don't do it. You also have access to, your iMovie Theater, things you create in iMovie. There's just other things. There's a lot of other apps you can explore within here. As I said earlier, just a moment ago, folders. Folders is invaluable. So I have them kind of organized based on, how I want to group them. Like I have an Apple folder, games folder, entertainment folder, and I'll show you how to move it to folders. Some of the folders you do this just like this. You kind of click on this, get it buzzing, drag it over, hover over the folder really quick, drop it in there, and you're done. You're also able to go on social media, Facebook Watch, Twitter, things of that nature. So there's a lot of things that you can do with your Apple TV that both my family and myself do. And it definitely, to me, is a much better experience than cable, to be honest with you. And based off of the apps and the new things that are coming out, like the Disney Plus subscription, and their bundle package that they're having with Hulu, ESPN, and all the Marvel stuff they'll have. I may be doing away with even an ATT TV soon, right? So, but it's being a cord cutter and utilizing your Apple TV. It's something you can constantly tinker with to kind of enhance your experience and really kind of tailor your content ingestion to what your current, I guess, mood or a desire is at that time. So that's it. That's really, I just kind of want to go over this really quick. I really think that I've neglected my Apple TV setup. I haven't given Apple TV any love, and it's definitely one of the primary tech experiences in my home for my entire family. So that's it. Well, hopefully that was helpful or informative or, gave you guys some insight in case you were trying to decide whether to buy an Apple TV or what you would use it for, or really just were kind of on the fence about, some of the things you could do or whether it's even worth purchasing, right? I would say it really depends on how you, you're set up at home. I know my wife's not really picky as long as she can watch what she wants to watch, when she wants to watch it, and there's no issues. Same goes for my kids. So I can say from my standpoint, setting everything up and syncing everything and making sure everything's fine, it's really easy to set up, really easy to maintain. As you saw in the video, it'll, as I mentioned in the video rather, it'll sync. Your home screen setup syncs between devices. So, the apps and the way you have your icons laid out will sync between devices, which makes it a lot easier to maintain everything. But that's really it. If you've liked the video and, you found this entertaining or informative or, just something that helped you out a little bit, then definitely please leave a like. If you like the channel, if you like the videos that I've been producing, go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have additional subscribers. Shout out to the people who are subscribing already. I appreciate you. Thank you. The subscribing and also hitting the like button will help, get my content out to more people. It'll, I guess interacts more favorably with Google's mystical, magical algorithm. And they rank my videos a little higher. If you want to be notified when I am releasing a new video, hit that notification bell. I'll definitely let you know when I upload some more content. Other than that, if there is anything that you guys want to ask me, or if you have any comments, or if you have any suggestions of things that you'd like me to do a video on, or questions about things I've done videos on, please leave all of that in the comments below. I will answer it as quickly as I can. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Definitely appreciate your time. Hopefully everyone has a great rest of your week. Wonderful weekend. Holiday weekend's coming up, so have a great holiday weekend as well. And until next time, I am out.